So hold on to the knowledge. We'll be reunited once again. Even though you miss me, at this special time for you, the greatest gift you give me is your smile instead of tears. So when Christmas starts without me, know you're not alone. For every time you think of me, I'm with you in your heart.
Good morning. I have to say that's the first I've seen that. That brought a tear to my eye. I never saw it before. I thank you all for being here today. We honor and celebrate the life of Donna. I know it's very difficult. We know the day that she passed, that going on Christmas morning and waking up and finding her that way. It's a difficult way to find her. But in all honesty, of all the gifts that were given out, of everything that you opened up, she got the greatest gift. She really did. She got to be with heaven on Christmas, and in heaven on Christmas Day with the Lord. She gets to be there with him for eternity. And that's just something we can celebrate. On earth, it's difficult for you, and for her family, for her loved ones. I understand that. Hopefully you can find that in your heart that this really isn't. It's not a sad day for her, because she's where she was always meant to be. We want to rejoice in that and spend some time this morning remembering her and just celebrating her life.
I'd like you to stand and take your great hymnal and turn to number 186. We're going to sing two verses of the Old Rugged Cross, verse number 1 and verse number 4. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross, where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. And they'll call me someday to my home far away, where His glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
First John 2, verse 15. Do not love this world nor the things it offers you, for when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. One of the things, seeing that video and realizing that was something Donna shared back on the 15th, I believe, of December. And for her to share that, it leads me to believe that maybe she knew, maybe she had an idea that something wasn't right. And maybe she spared her family of not telling them because she didn't want to ruin their holidays or their Christmas or what have you. And then sometimes, it's hard for us to understand, but, when it's time, it's time. I know back in 2013 on Easter Sunday, when Beth lost her dad, there was another surgery they could do, and he looked and it broke my heart because he looked at her and he said, "I'm sorry, I'm just ready to go." And for us, we were like, no, if there's something else they can do, you can come through this. He talked to the pastor, and the pastor came out and he's ready. He knows what he wants. And sure enough, they said he could last another week or two. By the end of that day, he was already incoherent. He couldn't, and within 48 hours, he passed away. He knew he was ready to go. And so when it's their time, and maybe Donna knew it was her time, and maybe she knew this was coming, maybe she didn't know it was going to be Christmas Eve. I know she was here Christmas Eve, which was a blessing for the family, and it was awesome for her to be here. I know that that's something we'll always be able to cherish and hang on to, so we're so thankful for that. That's just some observations I want to share that, that as difficult as it is, and for her to share that on the 15th, it really may have been a very clear sign that she knew that her time was coming. So, Robert.
I'm glad we have this chance to gather together. It's a milestone, isn't it? It was a challenging week for our church because there were 4 deaths on the week of Christmas, and 2 of them on Christmas Day. And that's hard for anybody. Now, we're a church of hope and gladness and joy, and we're never overcome, but we are challenged at times. We understand that. So I just want to give you a few scriptures today to remind you that it's okay. Things will be okay. And I knew that when I spoke with Becky, as she talked about her mom and the reconciliation her mom had with God, it made me feel better. Because I knew, yes, there is a happy ending to this story. You may have heard in the Bible about the parting of the Red Sea, the Israelites getting away from the Egyptians, and how they were trapped at the edge of the Red Sea, and they thought they were going to be overwhelmed. And God created a miracle, and He parted that sea so that the Israelites could cross safely. And then it was closed back up on the Egyptian army, and the Israelites made it free. What you might not know is 40 years later, after they wandered through the desert, they were finally coming to the Promised Land and crossing the Jordan River. And it was a similar situation. You have 2 million people. How do you get them across the river? And once again, God parted the waters so they could go through. But He gave them special instructions. And He said, as you go through, 12 men, each representing one of the tribes, will have one of the stones out of the river. And when you get to the other side, build an altar of these stones so that you'll remember what I did. And your children's children will remember what I did. And the same way, that's part of what we're doing today. We're creating that milestone where we're remembering a life that was taken sooner than it should have been, but a life that gave out ripples of love to all those around her. So it might cause you to weep and think, why? But let me the Corinthians, as he talked about God being in us. He said, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Therefore, we don't lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles, which is what they are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what we see is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." And that's where our sister is now, in this unseen realm. And that's challenging for us, because we're very human beings, and we live in this physical world. And when we lose somebody, it hurts. It really does. But we know for her, it's a far better place. I think she was a woman that just outlived her body. She was active, she was rambunctious and just wonderful. And she had a body that couldn't keep up with her. Not true anymore. She's with her Heavenly Father and Jesus. Now, for those of us left behind, it creates a challenge because it changes things. Life will get back to normal, but it'll be a new normal. A little bit different. And that's okay. That's okay. Because we know that she's in a place that we're going to also. Jesus said it himself before he went to the cross. He was trying to reassure his disciples because they were going to go through this exact same process that we're going through now. They were suffering a loss. And he said this to them, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms, and were it not so, I would have told you. I'm going to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come back and take you to be with me, that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going." Thomas said, "Lord, we don't know where you're going, so how could we know the way?" And Jesus answered, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." So this beautiful transformation has taken place. And while for us, we mourn what we've lost on this earth, at the same time, heaven has made a great gain. A soul that has been reconciled with our Heavenly Father and will not be racked by pain any longer, not be tempted by sin any longer, but live that miraculous life with the Creator. So knowing that, let's encourage ourselves with the following words. Paul told the Corinthians this, "Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed. In a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. For the perishable must clothe itself in the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality. When the perishable has been clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory." So what we're saying is not a goodbye, just a so long. Because the time will come for us as well, where we'll face that final transformation. And it may come one of two ways. You may also die some form of natural death. But it could be that Christ comes back and calls you directly. We don't know when that time will come. But what we do know from what Paul wrote to us is that we'll all be joined back together. And this will have just been a so long. So what do you do in the meantime? A couple of things. I think it's okay to grieve. I think it's okay to wrestle with God sometimes. I am challenged at times with God, and I say, Lord, you promise good things, and you want to bless us. Why do you let this stuff happen the way that it does? Why on Christmas? Why the way that it happened? I don't understand. And of course, the Bible says that we don't understand God's ways. But I do think it's okay for us to challenge God with that and say, Mom, ask you. You might not get the answer while you're on this earth, but you'll at least find a peace with God and an understanding. from there you can move forward. So don't be afraid to ask God why. Don't be afraid to grieve. Sometimes I think we feel like it's sinning if we feel that. No, we shouldn't. We should grieve. I mentioned to some folks yesterday that when Lazarus died in the Bible, it says that Jesus was angry. Why would Jesus be angry? Because he saw the condition that we were in and the fact that we lose one another, and he doesn't want it to be that way. God feels the pain too. And that's why he calls us to him, to help release that. So it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be a little angry. Let those things out. Don't suppress them. God wants you to be honest. But then as you work through it, cling to these verses and know that your Father has a plan. He's caring for you just like he cared for her. And eventually we'll be with him in heaven. And all this will be a thing of the past. Hold on to those things. And hold on to family. You know, God brings us together for a purpose, that we have a relationship with one another. So this becomes one of those milestones, just like the Israelites as they laid a stone. We're doing the same today. We're not only remembering a life, but we're remembering it together. Each of us was touched by her in some way, and it gives us a special union and bond together to have those memories. So make sure you share them. When we get together afterwards for the meal, talk about the good times. Share those things. And let's keep that light that was here alive as we are still here. Let's pray. Father, we are so grateful that you had a plan. And we're grateful for our sister that she is now at rest with you. It is wonderful. But it's still hard for us because we feel the loss. Would you comfort us? Would you allow the Holy Spirit to work in us to see the larger picture? Would you also comfort us in a way that we might comfort others and care for one another's needs? Because a light has gone out. But that reflection can continue on if we take care of one another. And I think that's what we wanted. So Lord Jesus, be with us each year, the young and the old alike, as we process this and as we still give you glory, because you are still good through it all. And we ask it in your precious Son's name.
The one thing Donna didn't know was the Lord's Prayer, and she liked that. So at this time, I'd like you to you would join me in reciting the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. At this time, we'd like to we're going to open it up to you for any personal memories or tributes that you'd like to stand up and share. We're not going to be sitting around microphones. If you would speak up, we'd love to hear whatever it is you'd love to share with us at this time of our time.
I'm Donna's hairdresser. She's come and gone, because as we all know, she came and went. And she was very good to her family. She loved family. She was full of life. She loved little Lily. And she would do anything for anybody. So I know she'll be missed. She was a great lady.
Well, Donna was, of course, my other in-law person that I knew through Becky, and although I didn't know her really good, I always enjoyed it when she was around. I know how much she loved her children and her grandkids. So have to keep in my mind that Donna is from Christmas Eve when she was here with you guys. I told her how pretty she looked that night, how nice her hair was. She said, oh, I gotta get it cut. I'm like, oh, it looks lovely. I love your hair. And she was so excited to be here, and she trained with Logan. And I just hold that of her in my memory. That's the picture I want to have of her. The joy she had in being here, and to being able to spend time with her.
I really didn't know Donna well. I only met her briefly. But Becky, I'll just say, you know, a parent influences a child. And I've gotten to know your heart and your real passion for people and certain causes. And I think I'll always know her through that in you. Because she brought up a good girl. She did.
I didn't get to, I actually never met Donna. But I feel like this week, just talking with Becky and talking with Beth and seeing the things on Facebook, I got to know her a little bit, and it's kind of a shame. I really wish I had gotten to know her, that I got to meet her. It's just one of those times where you just kind of miss out. You go, man, I wish I'd taken time. And I didn't even know Donna was around or someone that I should meet. And I'm sorry about that, but it sounds like she was just a phenomenal woman. One thing that I will say, I mean, unfortunately, I've been through these way too many times in the last few years of many family members that we've lost. And the one thing that, the two things that I would always stress is, first of all, don't wait to tell someone you love them. Never think about tomorrow. It's very, very important. Too many family members we've lost so quickly that you don't realize. I wanted to say this. Don't leave that regret there. I mean, it sounds like you guys didn't have that regret. I mean, there were some things that happened. I'm sure it's going to be shared. Christmas Eve, there were some talks that were had that were important. A lot of things happened. So and I think Donna felt that it was. I think she felt that it was okay. It was time, and I think that that's really helpful. And the one thing that I shared this last year when my niece passed away, and it's always stuck with me. I know Martin's heard this too. It's that dash in between. You got your birth date and the day that you died. It's that dash in between what you do with it and make something out of it. And it sounds like that's what Donna did. She touched a lot of people's lives from up here. And I'm sorry I missed out on that, but it sounds like she made the most of that dash in between. So I believe. Are you coming up? Okay. And then after that.
The thing I have to do is I was in my 40s. I don't know if any of you know, I was the last person to see my grandmother. I feel as though she had to be at peace. Funny story, I had peed myself the other night, and I was like, man, can you bring me some pants? She was like kind of hesitant, but Becky gave my grandmother some pants for me to change into, and if I hadn't bug her to come see me, I wouldn't have had the chance to apologize for my childhood and putting her through hell, from taking the cookies in the middle of the night, her finding me with Star Crunch in the bed, watching Family Matters, to the day I graduated my 5th grade, the day I started playing piano, on my aunt's piano, from 4 years old till I turned 18. I never thought I'd see this day. And I'm very sad that I have to stand here. Didn't think I would have to. I figured that I would probably go before my grandmother because of the family history of depression. My aunt, my uncle, my grandmother, my entire family has helped me through it. And my greatest memory of my grandmother was my grandmother pulling over on the side of the road, seeing a car flip in a canal in Naples, Florida, and helping the family that was inside the car. To me sitting in my grandmother's bus as she picked up the high school students. I really was mad. Okay, I blame myself in a way that I know I shouldn't. Because in my mind, I think that if I hadn't had her come over, I wouldn't have been able to tell her what I needed to tell her. But at the same time, I would have thought that she would have just gone to bed. I would have seen her the next day, but my grandmother's a busybody. She likes to fix everything. Can't stop her. But I was mad at God when I wrote this. So some of it has a little bit of slang, like some of the words, but the only way I can write poetry is when I'm upset, or I'm going through a hard time, or when something's on my mind. But this is called No Time for Goodbyes. It says, these words can't express how I feel, but I'm gonna try and keep it real. You say you'd be there for me, but you were taken way too early. The Lord is steady at my throat because I feel as though I'm going to choke. Why does he keep hurting me like I'm not going to be angry? Lord, you tell me in the Bible that you love me, but yet you steal my only family. I can't express how I feel, but I'm gonna sit back and watch it like a movie reel. I have nothing more to say, but I'm gonna thank you anyway, for the time you have given me with all of its beauty, the truth, the love, the laughs and the cries, but it still hurts. There was no time for goodbyes. My pain is building inside me, just want to scream for an eternity. Sometimes I wish I could turn back time when we hugged and laughed for the last time, but I'm gonna sit back and laugh at our old school rhyme. The world has gotten colder and harder to breathe. Don't know how to handle my tears when you decided to leave. They say there's a bigger plan for you and for me. Just wish it didn't feel like an eternity until I see you again. The pain will always linger, just wish it would go away. Sometimes it would creep up on an off day. The love I feel for you is unconditional, but it's oh so practical. These words aren't false, I'll prove them every day. Until I see you again, it will never go away. Mother, father, sister, brother, those are what we call them. But friends will forever have an impact on your heart. The feelings for your true friends will never truly part, but will always be connected by each other's heart. No matter if it's beating or completely still, I can feel the warmth that your love used to fill. You were there for me through the hardest of times. It still sucks there was no time for goodbyes. You know I'll always love you. You're always in my heart. Just know you're always there. Even in the darkest of days, I'll love you till the end. When I stop breathing, we won't meet again.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all the prayers. First and foremost, it is God's strength only that I can stand up and share what I'm going to tell you today. I am not alone. I have my dad, my grandmother, my mom right close to my heart. My aunt is here, virtual, and the rest of my family that isn't here. It's not because they're cold. It's just we're going to do a family service. Although we can all be together in a few weeks. But I was trying to prepare for this last night, and sleep just caught up with me. And I said, forget it, I'll wake up at 8 in the morning. But God had other plans. He woke me up at 6 a.m. and only for God really would I get up at 6 a.m. So when he says I need to talk to you, I try to listen and talk to him. So I was really blessed with this morning. Logan and I read stories every night. Reading was very important to my dad's mother, and that she instilled that down through us kids. But Logan has taken it a step further, and he has given me our own storybook characters. And each night after we read a regular storybook, I have to pull deep in my imagination and make up a wild hair of a story to put him to sleep. So I thought, let's put these storytelling things to use to teach you a little bit about my mom, so you could know her just a little bit more. So, let me see if this is working here. You guys see that? All right, perfect. All right, so reading. As I said again, it started at a very young age. Logan is, I don't even know, 3-4 months there maybe, based on his size. And there's Grandma reading. But my mom grew up in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. This is her family home there. My uncle still resides there. And this is actually the home where my mom met my dad when they were very young. Funny story I recall about this house. My uncle, Donna, my mom's brother, and my dad were chum buddies. They ran all around together. But I vaguely remember a story, and I won't share all the details because I don't know that my uncle's not here to defend himself. But something about my mom and aunt had pet hamsters, and my dad and uncle put parachutes through them. And that window you see in the top middle of the house there, some hamsters went skydiving. So, a little funny story for you, Logan. I thought you might like that. Silly grandpa and his hamsters. But my mom didn't like my dad when she first met him. He was a huge dork. You guys remember Sandlot? Some of you familiar with the cast of Sandlot? Well, my mom couldn't be lucky enough to, meet the guy that looked like the, Fancy Rodriguez one, who could play baseball really good. My mom had the heart of squints. That is not my dad. However, that is a really good depiction of him, and my absence of not being able to get family photos of him. We're going to use squints, so this is the love of my mom's life. So they got to know each other over the years, but it wasn't until after my mom's first marriage that my dad and her got together and moved to Florida. And one of the greatest memories I can think of, we didn't do Sunday church. They were both raised in Christian households, but just turned away from God for whatever their reason was. So our church was boating. So Kent and I, and my brothers and sisters, but more specific memories of my brother and I, out on the boat every Sunday. That was our ritual. We never had to ask what we were doing on Sunday. We were going out on the boat. So this is me burying my sister in the sand, and my brother and my cousin Eve walking along the beach. That was something else my dad did. Anytime family came into town, we went out on the boat. But then as I got older, I was thinking how to best share this. So I was thinking some of my first memories of my mom. And she was such an artist, and she was so crafty. I brought along some of her crocheting and things to share, and needlework, but there really wasn't anything she couldn't do. But the first memory of her artistry, I remember my dad owned a repair shop in Florida, and she drew this sign for him. This was his logo. And I remember her on the back porch with the paints, and of course, as a young child, I want to help, but when she's working on a masterpiece like this, I wasn't able to help. But then after my dad passed away, we wanted to bring that into today's world, give it a little spruce up. So my brother and I took Mom's idea and turned it into a more cartoon, kind of fun, catchy thing. Mom's love for animals, oh my gosh. We always had some sort of sick, hurt, stray, broken, abandoned, some kind of animal in our home. I remember waking up to my hamster somehow had babies. And some of them weren't gonna quite make it, so my mom had them on the back burner of the stove, which I was completely panicked, but the old stoves, the heat comes up out of that back burner to keep them nice and warm. So she was incubating these little baby hamsters, but she was something else. So she just instilled her love for animals into Logan, and they watch and watch and watch. So if you ever want to know what's happening in our backyard, ask Logan, because he surely knows what's going on. So there's a picture of the three of them in the city looking into my mom's backyard. The dog there, our neighborhood squirrel, and the birdhouses that Mom and Logan built together. But they were very cozy. The animals are very comfortable around my house, I think, when my mom's around, because they are full-bellied. She specifically would buy food, I think, for them first before she would buy food for herself. She just loves her animals. Here in Tennessee, they cut down some trees at our friend's property, and a nest of baby squirrels came out. Well, she decided she was going to nurse